A warm welcome to an all present here. I am M. Abhilash Kumar of 10th Standard who is going to explain about India's geography part 2. So in the part 1 we have already discussed until the northern mountains. So in this part 2 presentation we are going to start from the northern Great Plains. The northern plains are formed by the alluvial deposition brought by the three rivers, the Indus, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra. These plains extend approximately 3,200 km from the east to the west. The average width of these plains varies between 150 to 300 km. The maximum depth of alluvial deposit varies between 1000 to 2000 meters. From the north to the south, this can be divided into three major zones: the Bhagar, the Tarai, and the alluvial plains. The alluvial plains can be further divided into the Khadar and the Bangar. So, here are some images of the northern Great Plains. So, as we have already learned about the northern Great Plains, let's also learn some of the importance of the northern Great Plains. Importance of northern plains. The northern plains is a riverine region being bountiful endowed with the fertile soil, favorable climate, flat surfaces rendering possible the construction of roads and railways, the slow moving rivers. All these factors have made this plan very important. Northern plains have fertile soil which is needed to grow crops. They are drained by rivers Ganga, Brahmaputra and Indus. So, to feed country, northern plains are necessary. The northern plains in general and Punjab in particular is the wheat bowl of India. So, after the northern Great Plains comes the Peninsula Plateau. The Peninsula Plateau is a tableland composed of the old crystalline igneous and metamorphic rocks. It was formed due to the breaking and drifting of the Gondwana land and thus making it a part of the oldest landmass. The plateaus has broad and shallow valleys and rounded hills. So the peninsular plateaus are divided into two parts: the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats. So first comes the Western Ghats. The Western Ghats, also known as Sahyadris, are a mountain range that covers an area of 1,40,000 square kilometers in a stretch of 1,600 kilometers parallel to the western coast of the Indian peninsula, traversing the states of Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Goa, Maharashtra, and Gujarat. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is one of the 8 hotspots of biological diversity in the world. It is sometimes called the Great Escarpment of India. It contains a large proportion of the country's flora and fauna, many of which are only found in India and nowhere else in the world. According to UNESCO, the Western Ghats are older than the Himalayas. The influence Indian monsoon weather pattern by intercepting the rain-laden monsoon winds that sweep in the form of southwest during late summer. The range runs north to south along the western edge of Deccan Plateau and separates the plateau from a narrow coastal plain along Konkan, along the Arabian Sea. A total of 39 areas in the Western Ghats, including national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and reserve forests, were designed as World Heritage Site in 2012. 20 in Kerala, 10 in our Karnataka, 6 in Tamil Nadu, and 4 in Maharashtra. Here are some pictures of the Western Ghats. So next comes the Eastern Ghats. The Eastern Ghats are a discontinuous range of mountains along India's eastern coast. The Eastern Ghats run from the northern Odisha through Andhra Pradesh to Tamil Nadu in the south, passing some parts of Karnataka as well as Telangana. They are eroded and cut through by four rivers of Peninsula India, with Godavari, Mahanadi, Krishna, and Kaveri. The cradle of Eastern Ghats is Villupuram district in Tamil Nadu. The mountain ranges run parallel to the Bay of Bengal. The Deccan Plateau lies to the west of the range, between the eastern and the western Ghats. The coastal plains, including the Coromandel coast region, lie between the eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. The eastern Ghats are not as high as the western Ghats. Here are some images of the eastern Ghats. So, let's also learn some of the importance of the Peninsula Plateau. It is a storehouse of minerals like iron ore, bauxite, gold, copper, coal, manganese, mica, etc. Its black earth soil are very productive and intensively given to cotton culture. The Ghats are immeasurable source of wood, timber, etc. The Western Ghats have rich water potentials. The valuable trees are teak, sandal, rosewood, sal, ebony, bamboo, etc. The rivers make falls and rapids, thus provide ideal sites for dam construction and hydro power. So next comes the coastal plains. The coastal plains is a low-lying land adjacent to a sea coast. Some of the largest coastal plains are in Alaska and the southeastern United States. The Gulf coastal plain of North America extends northwards the Gulf of Mexico along the lower Mississippi River to the Ohi River, which is a distance of about 981 miles. Coastal plains of India lie on either side of Peninsula Plateau. Along the western and the eastern coast of India, they extend about 6,150 km to the Rann of Kutch in West Bengal in west to West Bengal in east. They are broadly divided into the western coastal plains and the eastern coastal plain. The two coastal plains meet at Kanyakumari, the southernmost tip of India mainland. So the coastal plains are divided into two parts, the western coastal plain and the eastern coastal plain. So now let's learn about the western coastal plain. The western coastal plain is a strip of coastal plain 50 kilometers in width between the west coast of India and the Western Ghats Hill, which starts near the south of Tapi River. The plains are located between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. The plains begin at Gujarat in the north and end at Tamil Nadu in the south. It includes the states of Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. The region consists of three sections. The northern part of the coast is called as the Konkan coast. The central stretch is called as the Kanara or the Karavali, while the southern stretch is referred to as the Malabar coast. On its northern side, there are two gulfs, the Gulf of Khambat and the Gulf of Kutch. The rivers along the coast form estuaries and provide conditions ideal for pisciculture because of the presence of less coastal land in this part. It will be affected more by the global warming. So let's have some images of the western coastal plains. So next comes the eastern coastal plain. The eastern coastal plain is a wide stretch of landmass of India, lying between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. It is a wider and leveled than the western coastal plain and stretches from Tamil Nadu in the south to West Bengal in the north through Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. Chilka Lake is a brackish water lake along the eastern coastal plain. It lies in the state of Odisha and stretches to the south of the Mahanadi Delta. Deltas of many of India's rivers form a major portion of this plain. The Mahanadi, Godavari, Kaveri and Krishna rivers drain this plain. The region receives both the northeast and southeast monsoon rains with its annual rainfall averaging between 1000 to 3000 mm. The width of this plain varies between 100 to 120 kilometers. So let's have the images of the western coastal plain to have a clear image. So let's learn about the importance of the coastal plains. The Indian coastal plains are very fertile. Major food crops like rice and cash crops like coconut are grown in these areas. Some of the coastal plains are rich in mineral soil. Fishing is a major occupation for the people living in the coastal areas. Various small and large ports are established near the coastal areas. These ports play a significant role in the development of sea trade. Coastal wetlands in Gujarat are for producing common salt. The largest mangrove forest called the Sundarbans, which are the largest sanctuaries for the Bengal tiger, are found in the delta of the West Bengal. The sands in the Kerala coast have large amount of monazite mineral that is used to generate nuclear power. So last but not the least comes the islands. So there are 247 islands in India. Of these, 204 are in Bay of Bengal and 34 are in the Arabian Sea. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are in the Bay of Bengal. The Lakshadweep Islands are in the Arabian Sea, are found of corals. So here we have some images of the islands, so that you can understand the islands very better. So thank you friends. Hope this presentation was very helpful to you.